Hi there, and welcome to Budget Model Railways. And I thought today I would return to really the core of what we do, which is Budget Model Railways. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I make things on a budget, recycling, keeping the price down, that sort of thing. Because I realise that quite often I show finished layouts and I kind of talk through, because we've done videos on most things in the past, but I know not everybody wants to go back through the back catalogue. So I thought I'd kind of do a bit of a refresh on some of the things we do. What started this really was I saw recently a couple of people made an okay layout, fairly ordinary layout, and were proudly saying that they'd managed to make it for under £500. And I thought to myself, blimey, I'd be wanting to make it under 50, not 500. And it bothered me in a couple of ways. One, because they thought that £500 wasn't a lot of money for a model railway. And the other, because I couldn't really see where their money had gone. So it also then I saw somebody talking about a challenge, and they were going to use a commercially bought plywood baseboard, and it was going to be £26. And so I had a little look around and I found these, which is the Wix floating shelves. You can get these anywhere. They're 60 centimetres by 23.5. Cost me £13, which is half a commercially built plywood baseboard. And that then sort of made me think, well, this is what it's all about. The problem, if you like, with model railways, there's absolutely nothing wrong with floating shelves as baseboards, and they're half the price of buying a dedicated plywood model railway baseboard. Things like controllers. So this is our usual controller, if I can get the lid off, made with the components that we hold. Bear with me a second. That's because I've glued the edge there. Look at that. So these are very cheap electrical components. They come from eBay. They cost... Oh, my tripod went funny. They cost really between about £8 and £10 depending on where you buy them. And that gets you the speed controller, the forward and backwards, and the power input. They're really, really good controllers. They're PWM and they run DC really slowly. Okay, even if you had to buy a 3D box, or if not, make your own box, which is what I do quite often. The electrical components, you can put in anything you want. They cost about 10 quid. The cheapest controller is about 40. Now, some controllers are really worth buying, things like the Gauge Master, but I do query things like the Hornby controller being 26 quid for probably not different electrics to that. But what I really object to is these things. So this is just a 12 volt power adapter to coming off the mains. £6 all day anywhere on eBay and other sites. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. We've never had one go wrong. They're great. So the Hornby one, the Kato one, and so on, sold separately, £26. I don't know where you get the extra 20 quid from. So there you go. Relatively easy to make a very good controller. So we've got our baseboard. Things like keeping it simple is one of the best ones. I've been really taken recently with very simple open layouts. So when I decided to see what I could do on this baseboard, and I'm going to do a challenge, so stay watching the channel, because at some point I'm going to give some criteria, and we'll do a challenge on what you can make on one of these shelves. But I was really taken with the idea of just doing a tuning fork, just putting a single point in. By putting your track relatively straight, there's just a little ST4 Pico curve there, you get more straight tracking, which is what you need for shunting. But the track, again, is all second hand. We've had this debate quite a bit. Almost every layout we've built, bar none, over the last 10 years has been with second hand track. So this point cost me £4 second hand. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It just needed a little bit of clean. It is a Pico point, which obviously is a lot better. I wouldn't buy Hornby points new, let alone second hand, but whatever your taste is, so there's nothing wrong with second hand points. And all the track here was bought, as it happens, from Horsham Model Railway Club's open day. And I bought that for 3 quid. So the track in here has cost me £7. It would have cost me well over £20 to buy new. The ballast I bought second hand on eBay because I'm not bothered on what colour it was. It's a kind of brown ballast that I've used a lot. I've weathered the track, painted the track and the sleepers. I don't know if I can zoom in there. I was quite pleased with the way the sleepers came out with the wood grain effect. But I just use cheap acrylic paint to paint the track. I don't go getting expensive model acrylics. These come as a 2-pack, £5.50 new, but it makes me a very nice little station. Shop around. So this is the excellent Pico N-Gauge goods shed. They're £12, which is not a lot of money, but I picked this one from Kerno Models, brand new, for £4. These are quite something. I remember seeing an interview once with Ronnie Barker saying there was nothing clever about his performance in porridge. It was just brilliant writing. And it's the same with this. There's nothing special in my modelling skills to produce that. It's that Pico have produced such a wonderful kit. It's just all black washes and dry brushes. The roads here, just mounting board. Bought cheaply. I buy big bags of it from a picture framers. This is a platform's going to be a wooden platform. That's strips of cereal packet or pizza box card onto a foam base. When that's painted, that'll look fine, a bit like this one. So that's my little loading dock. That is just foam board and cereal packet card, scribed, black washed and dry brushed. Somebody asked me to do a video on it, but it would be quite a short video. So for the base layer here, that is just the top of the floating shelf. It's been painted with acrylic paint, black washed and dry brushed. And it's just practice. It's not, you just get a bit of scrap wood and practice. Somebody said to me on a few of my layouts, how did I do roads and things? It's usually just painted cardboard, black washed and dry brushed. Points, again, really and truthfully, if your points are near the front of the board, don't worry about using point motors. Point motors are 15 odd quid. You've got to buy the mounting plate. You've got to buy the switch. You've got to have a separate power takeoff. You've got to wire it. It'll take you ages and cost you about 20 quid. This piece of florist's wire, piece of tubing bought from a model shop, bit of old pencil. There you go, my points move. Now if you think about it, if I had a switch here, all I would be doing is that. And all I'm doing is this. So it really isn't any harder doing it manually. The advantage is it's an awful lot cheaper. Back scenes, I've bought some Pico Sky back scenes, the old-fashioned ones, £2.20. It's going to cost me £4 to do the back scenes. I've got some old hardboard lying around that came off some furniture when we broke some furniture up. And that's really the thing with budget model railways. It isn't all about finding cheaper ways of doing things. It's also about recycling things. And, cereal packet card, bits of old plywood that came off of furniture when it got thrown away to make the back scenes. I quite often get these floating shelves cheap from our local amenity shop. I've seen them in charity shops. So when you're looking and saying, well, it's going to cost me £100, £200 to make a layout because it's £26 for the baseboard and it's 46 quid for the controller and it's £25, £30 for the track and it's another £20 or £30 for the buildings. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Shop around. Yes, I accept if you want to make, you've heard me say this before, but Little Snodguard Station on the Great Western Railway on the 6th of April 1952, when it rained, yes, then it's going to cost you more money because you can't buy what's cheap, you've got to buy what you need. And that's one of the flaws, particularly with the UK model railways. The start point officially is what location, what era, and it shouldn't be. The vast majority of people don't follow that. They buy some nice UK buildings and rolling stock and they make a UK-ish layout. I tend to make these freelance ones, could be anywhere or nowhere, and that does enable me just to pick buildings up. But even then, the one over the back there, my UK one, just some old timber that made the baseboard. It's some cheap Metcalfe buildings cut up. Track's not even ballasted, it's on roofing felt. All done quite cheaply again. Really didn't cost much money to make that. Wagons and things. Ideally, go to Japanese railways where the new wagons are half what the UK are. But these are Pico wagon kits. They're 10 quid. Now, that didn't used to be terribly cheap. They were 6 quid at one time. They've gone up to 10 quid. The point is the new wagons have gone up to nearly 20. And these, again, are just black washed, dry washed, black washed, dry brushed, tissue paper for the tarpaulins. They make quite a range of wagons. They're great fun to ride. Yeah, they are plastic wheels, but I don't have a problem with them running. You can buy metal wheels very cheaply on the internet from China and eBay if you want to change them. I don't find a problem with them. Little things like these trucks. They're £5 on eBay, but I've since found the file on Thingiverse. I can print them for free. Nice little Freelance truck there. So the whole layout, when it's done, I'll do a video on it when it's done, and I'm hoping people will look at it and think it's a really high standard layout, but it won't cost me a fraction of what people think it will have cost me. So just really a reiteration, a refresher on what it is we do at Budget Model Railways. Look around for what you can get cheaply. Use second hand whenever you can. Use materials like serial packet card, things like floating shelves. And you'll be very surprised at how cheaply you can do model railways. When we first started, we looked at the new price of stuff. We would never have got started. We found eBay, we found second hand, and then it's kind of exploded from there. I particularly don't get the don't use second hand track. Whilst I can understand some people being cautious about the points, track is plastic and metal. I do not understand what can have gone wrong with it. Yeah, you might need to buy a pack of fish plates. Change the fish plates. You'll have absolutely no problem with second-hand track. Somebody commented recently they'd been seeing a particular video and thank heavens the person had saved them all the money wasting second-hand track. No, what you did was cost them a fortune because the track cost twice as much. Second-hand tracks, plenty of places do it. Give it a bit of a clean. Change the fish plates if you need to, and you'll save an awful lot of money. So there we go. That's a little refresher, a little take on what we do at Budget Model Railways. And this is going to be part, as I say, of a challenge. I'm going to do a challenge where everybody uses the same piece of baseboard and let's see what people can make. And I'll do videos on it anyway as it progresses. Those of you who've been watching Train Shed Tuesday, which is my new series, thank you very much. Just a general rambling about model railways and stuff. If you haven't seen them, take a look. Every couple of weeks or so I do a Train Shed Tuesday. So thanks for watching, wherever you are in the world. If you like what we do, please spread the word. Please share, like, forward, whatever you need to do. Let's see what kind of viewers we can get for these videos on a different way of doing model railways. As always, thank you very much for your time.